there, everyone. It's Adrienne here, the Integrative Awareness Coach, and I'm just stopping by today to share with you some nuggets of wisdom. So yesterday I did a live on my Mind Heart Space Facebook page about healthcare, self-care as healthcare, and I wanted to extend on that a little bit today. Around, what exactly self-care is, or it's many things. But one really important aspect today is, how can we take these dense energies that are in our body, and when I say dense energies, it's anything that we use as an excuse or a reason to avoid doing what we really want to do in our lives. And this can trigger a lot of emotion. And the emotion, it's more that we have the fear of feeling the emotion versus the emotion itself. So, what does this look like? And it's so easy to do, to just skim over, to ignore, or to just bypass this attention to this internal process, which is our experience, although it's invisible, and a lot of times this makes it devalued and not recognized as an aspect of your reality, because it might not match the reality of somebody next to you, or at your work or in your family. So this is really attending to the self. And this week I did my podcast on, it was entitled The Aquarian Age, The New Self. And the title's a little bit misleading, because the self isn't the self that I'm talking about. This essential self with a capital S is not new, right? It's this pure essence that we brought with us into this lifetime that slowly got divided from itself with judgments and thoughts, and we call this the ego. And the ego is created in order to protect us from perceived harm that life, can wield for us. This scariness of uncertainty, or being overwhelmed, or anything that we can't quite process. Our ego is there to save the day, and it creates it's an aspect of this innocence that gets turned on itself. And that's the way our socialization process has been. That's the way the self has been showing up in the world for I don't know how long. But I don't know if you can feel it, but I think a lot of people I've talked to are kind of in this Ordo world, and that's a word that I took from the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's like this in-between world where the old hasn't died and the new hasn't quite manifested yet, and people keep clinging on to the old because they don't know what's new, and this creates a lot of uncertainty and fear in them. And and they're still turning their attention outwardly to blame and criticize and judge their lack of, and this is just a symptom of, this lack of control, like not knowing. But this is a whole transition that's occurring about where our reference point is of the self. And, for most of my life, I've been raised and conditioned to always have my center point be outside of me, in a person, in a relationship, in a job, telling me, giving me my frame of reference, or my GPS in the world. And, if you sit long enough in the quietness of your own heart, your own mind, your own inner temple, you begin to reclaim that frame of reference. So it's no longer outside of you that's giving you that that illusion of self. And that's the small self, that's the ego self. And so what's happening is that reference point is being turned back inside, into that natural, unique soul signature that we all, bring into this world. We have our own unique expression as a soul or spirit, whatever you want to call it. But and this is the source. This is the point of reference that's now being reinstated. So when I say it's not new, that's what I mean. It's just recognizing the expansiveness of our awareness, the expansiveness of our consciousness, and no longer being satisfied with this small, narrow sense of, these little categories or boxes that we've had to try to shove ourselves into, which is extremely uncomfortable and, life denying on many levels. And I had mentioned yesterday in the live that I was looking at, how many Americans have chronic disease, at least one form of chronic disease. And I looked it up, I Googled it yesterday, and it said 40% of Americans have chronic disease or more, one chronic disease or more. And that's almost 50% of the American population having a chronic dis-ease in their body. And so I'm especially attuned to this at this time for many reasons. One, the last 2 weeks, I think it's been, 2 weeks, I was faced with a lot of pain in my body, on the right side of my body. And this has been a chronic condition for me. It comes and it goes. And so I have really spent the last 2 weeks really going into that pain that is manifesting in my body and having a conversation with it, at a cellular level, at a physical level, talking to my body. What does it need? What is that pain trying to tell me? What is that what emotion or emotional pain am I not looking at? And so for the past 2 weeks, I've been delving into that to release it and look at, some woundedness around my will. It's the right side of my body. It's the masculine side. And so in our culture, we have a really strong masculine component to our culture, especially in the U.S., or Western culture, where, action, being action orientated, taking action, being, an extrovert, being a take charge kind of person is really valued. And this level of action, when I really looked at it, is a level of, where's that action coming from? Is it coming from dis-ease? Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from the need to control? Is it coming from, I'm not good enough? Or, this constant need to prove oneself in order to be valuable, for instance, what I was just talking about. And so when I said self-care is healthcare, this is I feel a deep calling for people to turn their attention within, so they can look at those aspects of themselves that are causing them dis-ease, or on some level or another pain. And it's like that part of ourselves that we distract ourselves from all the time because it's uncomfortable. no matter what your distraction is. Like, for example, you can be addicted to busyness, addicted to taking action. And in our society, it's really easy to find ways to distract ourselves. There's endless ways, but for me, it was I was using that discomfort, instead of actually addressing this discomfort, I was actually using it to be into action, which was, at one level was very, productive, but on another level, it's this action is disconnected from the core essence, like that soul signature I was talking about. It's not, and it's not inspired from that divine spark or that joy or that passion. It's more like a, what is the word? Like a frenetic, action of not wanting to stop long enough to look or to feel. And so this is a common condition for many people. And one, there's all different relationships and expression of this kind of, relationship that we have to our nervous system, and how we adapt and how we operate. All these ways that we have creative, because we're extremely creative beings, to avoid this really stopping ourselves and going into the discomfort, and not as a martyr or, but as a way of healing it and releasing it. This density in your body that's weighing down true action. It's weighing down true inspiration. It's weighing down the ability to fully express just from that unique expression of what you came here to do on this planet. So through the 11-week meditation series that I designed to help people do exactly this, and so it's actually a process to support people to build the container, the inner temple, to hold that mental, emotional, psychological, and energetic process that has to happen internally in order to clean house, so to speak, of these leftover energies that we are carrying with us. And so this is the process. And this week we are going into, I think, week 7 of 11. And we're going to be looking at the third chakra, which is the solar plexus, which the seed sound or the seed thought is, I am powerful. And so this is specifically highlighting like all of these stories and these dense energies we have around using our power. And so we're going to be looking at that this Sunday in our meditation, and it is at 12 Pacific Standard Time, and it will be here on YouTube as well as on my Facebook page, so you can tune in and join us. And all the previous weeks, 1 through 6, are also pre-recorded on YouTube and also on my Facebook page, so if you missed them, you can still check them out and catch up and build the foundation for this process. And there was something else that I wanted to share with you about this that was coming up for me this week, but it's just taken flight from my mind right now, so I can't seem to pull it up right now, so I guess I will leave it for another time. But I want to thank you for stopping by and listening. It's always a pleasure to see you here. And just a reminder, if you stop by, leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your support. And please remember what a valuable treasure you are. Remember how brave and courageous and kind you are, and that this work is, simple, but it's not easy. And I think it was, about 20 years ago when I started meditating, and I naturally fell into it because I was in a major time of transition, and in order to go forward, like my life got to the point where in order to go forward into who I needed to be, I had to go within, and I wasn't I couldn't go any further until I went within. And so I had been ignoring my internal world for, I don't know, many years, 20, 25 years, and that many years of ignoring that internal world begins to catch up with you in more ways than one. And so I began my own practice of meditation and turning within, and it, nobody taught me to meditate. I just started to meditate, and at that time I did find my first meditation teacher, who didn't particularly give a lot of instruction. It was just more being in the pure presence of this person that was just confirmation. Like, his vibration was a satellite, it was a tuning fork, it was an invitation to join that level of vibration of a being who has taken all of those restrictive densities and has cleared them out, so they're no longer inhabiting the space of his consciousness. And that level of cleanliness, it's more like a purity or a truth that resonates in a being, and there are no words that can express it, because it's just an experience of knowing that when you're in that vibration, it starts to shake your space clean. That's really what's happening. And so as I was in, it was like 2 points of light coming together, because I was at the point where I had to turn within, and then this being emerged at the same time in this perfect coalescence of unfolding that happened right at the right time for me. And I was able to start the conversation, that internal process of, yes, my beloved, what do you need? And it's almost like, having a conversation with a small child, because that's what that pure innocence is. It is that trusting, abiding sense of pure light that comes into you that is you when you come into this world. And then the ego is a fragment of that, as a product of fear and separation, and a certain vibration, that we get conditioned into. And so we're in the process of conditioning ourselves out of that. At least I am. And I think that's what people are really hungry for. That substantial relationship with their own being, their own authority, their own knowing. So, this old world of, having these father figures, these father leaders, these father priests, these father teachers, who were actually expressing the lower vibration of that divine masculine. It's all disintegrating. And like I said, nobody's quite sure. Well, a lot of people aren't sure because they're using their old way of relating to the world, that outside confirmation. They're looking for that new front and center, that new North Star, but it's not going to be that way anymore, right? The North Star is within, that GPS is within, and so it's a whole shift in our ontology and our mindset and our whole relationship to self, and then of course to other. So just a few words, a few nuggets of wisdom. I'd love to hear about what you're facing, what you're going through individually. It really helps me shape each meditation, and of course my nuggets of wisdom. If you have any questions or any particular challenges that you're facing, please share them in the comment box, or you can private message me, and that way I can address it personally or include it in next week's share. All right. That's all for now. Thank you for stopping by again, and namaste. See you Sunday, hopefully. Bye for now.